Welcome to part 6 of Introduction to PowerShell. Welcome to part 6 of Introduction to PowerShell. So far we had looked at various concepts like the introduction, variables, pipelining, regular expressions, exception handling. And now we are entering a little advanced topic called WMI or Windows Management Instrumentation. As you all know, PowerShell runs on top of Windows and has evolved out of the command prompt. And PowerShell is a powerful tool to help us to manage the Windows. Any Windows is made of various information like the user accounts or the services running or what is the memory, what is the BIOS. We need that information for various purposes like the performance or for your personal use. So here are a couple of things to memorize if you want to work in Windows Management Instrumentation. You just need to memorize the command get-wmi object, and you have to pass the parameter of the class, which usually starts with Win32 or sim. If you want to view the list of all objects, you just have to use the parameter -list. For example, suppose you want to view the BIOS information, all you have to use is get-wmi object win32 underscore BIOS. If you want to see the OS information, get-wmi object win32 underscore operating system. Even if you do not remember the exact name, you have a way to use the list parameter and you can find out what is the class. So to repeat, you need to remember the command get-wmi object followed by the class for the information. For example, suppose you want to search for the print commands, we will see a demo on how to find out the classes having the name print. In the third line here, you see there is another way to invoke the WMI commands. It always returns in a WMI object, and for example here $disk is equal to, you typecast as a WMI object, and in the quotes you give the class W, that is Win32 underscore logical disk, and if you want the information of C drive or D drive, you give the specific drive, that is the value of the class. And if you want to view the properties of the class, all you have to do is $disk dot the property name. Here it is free space. And just as any class you can call methods, you can happily call the WMI methods using the command invoke-WMI method followed by the parameter, the path, and the name which contains the method name. For example, if you want to start a new instance of a notepad, you can use invoke-WMI method -path win32 underscore process, and the name of the method, here it is create, and suppose you want to start PowerShell, you can even give that PowerShell.exe or notepad.exe. And the next is to how to update. To update, you use the command set-wmi instance followed by the class and followed by the values which is given by the parameter arguments. So this is like all the technical things of WMI. The architecture, what happens behind the scenes? The object from the source goes to the destination, and then the result is returned in a property bag. And so this way, it doesn't matter where you're working. It may be in Windows or Linux or any kind of OS. So that is the advantage of WMI. So though you can use the command get-process or get-service, sometimes you might need to use the get-WMA object because you can invoke the command on different computers and you can start the notepad process on various computers. So WMI supports remoting, and so we are entering the remote computer. Now how to enter a remote computer? The best way is to use the telnet. That is, you can just do, as you log into a remote session, you can happily log in using the mstsc slash v colon the computer name. And then another way to enter the session is using the command enter hyphen ps session followed by the computer name. And if you want to execute the commands on remote computers, these are some of the examples you see here. You put the command name and you use the command invoke hyphen command followed by the computer name. So, and next slide talks about mobile access. That is, you can happily launch your PowerShell from your mobile also. So these are the steps. You get the feature, you search for PowerShell Windows, PowerShell Web Access, and install that Windows feature using this command install hyphen Windows feature, Windows PowerShell Web Access, and then you call the command install hyphen PSWA web application. Then you add PSWA authorization rule, pass the username of which users can access the link, PowerShell link in mobile, and then you give the configuration name. And you open up the uh, Internet Explorer from a mobile, HTTPS PWA slash PSWA, and that's it. Your PowerShell can be accessed from a mobile too. And suppose you want to monitor all process, this is the events. Sometimes you just want to monitor the events. So this example, what it does is, so this is the syntax, system.management.automation.ps engine, and you call the exiting event. When the PowerShell is exiting, you register the event and you give the action using hyphen action, and within this curly braces or square this curly braces you give the action. For example, here we are merely writing to a file that PowerShell exited at this time, and if you want to view the information of the event you can use get hyphen event subscriber. So enough of the boring theory, let's get to the demo to actually understand much better. So as a first example, let's just try to simply run the command get hyphen WMI object. So this class is a compulsory parameter. So let's try to get the bias information, win32 underscore bias. So this is the information of the bias. Suppose we want to search the print details and we do not remember the name. That is very easy. Just pass win32 and then print star and then the parameter for list. And then you run this command. It gives all the classes for print. And suppose you want the details of win32 printer, you would just have to pass the parameter printer, the win32 underscore printer. And just run this command. As a next example, let's just see now how to call a property. We'll take up the example of the information of the C drive. Suppose we want to look at the information of the C drive. All you have to do is call the free space property. So let's just run this. So this says, okay, this has this much free space. Next, let's try to see how to call the method. We'll choose the example invoke hyphen method. Invoke hyphen WMA method will give the path as the process in class to call the process, and we call the method using name using parameter name. Then what are the values? Here we are going to call only notepad. If you want, you can even pass PowerShell. Right? Let's just run this. Now what happens if you see a new notepad has started from PowerShell. Now, as another, how to set the verb. Now we've seen how to call a method, how to set the use, how to update the properties. This is rarely the case, but in case you want to update, so you can use the command set hyphen WMI instance. So set hyphen, since I'm not actually updating, I'm just going to use the parameter what if. So shift home, set WMI instance. To update set WMI instance, we are going to just update the environment variable. Since I'm not actually updating, I'm using the what if parameter since I do not actually want to update. But this is the way to update. Now to understand remoting, I've logged on to a Microsoft Virtual Labs where you have different machines. Now we are inside the W15-SP machine. Suppose you want to connect to the DC machine, it is very easy. You just have to do mstsc space b colon / W15-DC. I'm sorry, it is mstsc space /p colon the computer name W15-DC. And wow, it will ask you for the password. Type your password and you can connect to it as to your connecting to a remote machine. Isn't that cool? Now let's just go back to the W15. I'll close this. And suppose you want to invoke the command on another computer. So you have to just use the command invoke -command -computer name space, let's give W15-DC, and within the curly braces you give your command. Let's just try get -event log -new newest t and enter. So right now there's a problem with connection. So now what I've done is I've connected to the DC computer and I'm calling the command get event log for the SP computer. And it's asking for the parameter log name. We'll give application and the latest two event logs from a remote computer are displayed. So this is very powerful. If you want to get the commands from other computers, this is one powerful way of doing it. Next is the events. So events, so this is a simple example where you use management.event query and you select starts from instance creation for creation, deletion for deletion within one. So this is a syntax. What this code is doing is when a notepad, we wait for a notepad to start and once that process is started, this command is displayed. So we have already compiled. Let's try to start the wait for, we'll call this function. So what happens, it is waiting for a notepad to start and once I start a notepad, the message is displayed that the process has started. As another example, this is another example where we are calling, so in the action parameter, first we register the event using register-engine event, source identifier, PowerShell.exiting. That is on the exiting of PowerShell, we do the action within the curly braces. The file is created that the PowerShell is exiting at this time. So let's just run this command. So now it has not started because we have not closed from the PowerShell. And now if you look at the events, now let's just try to create a new event with the data test. Now if you look at the get event, it shows the events. Since another event has already been started with the same message, as in when you create a new event, you can group the details using new event. Suppose you want to use the event subscriber, you can just run the command get-event subscriber. So right now this is showing the PowerShell.exiting event. So now let's just exit from the PowerShell and see what happens. Once you exit from PowerShell, a PowerShell log is created telling that PowerShell has exited as per the code. So as a summary, we have seen WMI, how to remote, how to connect, how to query, and also